Good morning. Hi, I'm Pam Fox. Hi, Nadia. Good morning. I'm Pam Fox at pamfox.org, and this morning I'm going to share this one thing that I will never forget that was really kind of my, hi Paul, good morning, that was really my turning point to what I call my road to recovery. So, excuse me. So when I first started, kind of going down this path, like many of us do, starting out with symptoms and feeling really cruddy and seeing doctors and not getting results. And then I started to get some results, changes in my diet. And I made this connection. And I tried to find it this morning, but I looked everywhere. But I made this connection where this connection with muscles, this connection with this idea that hiatal hernia is a mechanical thing. So I'd cleaned up my diet and I'd gotten some improvement, but I was still symptomatic. And so what happened was I bought this belt, and I wanted to show it to you this morning, but I couldn't find it anywhere. It's called the I think it's called the Massage Buddy. Anyway, I got it on Amazon. It was like $50, and I'm not suggesting you go out and buy this. I'm just telling this story because it's what helped me kind of make this connection between the anatomy, the musculature, the mechanicalness of the hiatal hernia. So I bought this belt because I was exploring with solar plexus massage, which is here, and it was helping me a little bit with my symptoms. It was giving me a little bit of relief. But I couldn't go around, massaging my solar plexus all the time. And so I thought what I needed was some kind of vibration, some kind of massage tool, like a belt. And so I went on Amazon and I found this back massage belt that's supposed to massage your back. And I bought it and I just put it on backwards so that the vibration was on my front. And lo and behold, it gave me a lot of relief. But I couldn't go around wearing this belt all the time, right? And so mostly I just kept it in the car. I actually had an adapter. You could plug it into your, to your plug in the car. And I would wear it in the car because that is when I was the most symptomatic. I was the most symptomatic when I drove. And so as long as I had this thing on, I felt great. And so then I would take it off and the symptoms would come right back. And it literally took me about a week to make the connection why that was. And the reason it was is because when I was wearing this belt, and it was like a black band that you just wore around the middle and it plugs in and it vibrates and there's heat. When I was wearing that, the musculature of my abdomen and my diaphragm, particularly the abs, was relaxing. That vibration was causing those muscles, just like when you have a massage, it releases tension and those muscles relax. So that's when I made the connection that I had been pulling in my abs. I had been pulling in my abs most of my life. And so if you're like me, and I know that everybody won't fall into this category, but many of us pull in our abs. And we do this for a couple of reasons. One is we do it just as a normal musculature mechanism to live, to move, to do anything. So the muscles of the abs will engage. If you're lifting something heavy, if you're sitting up out of bed, standing, sitting, the muscles, they're almost always working. But we can relax them. We just have to become mindful and learn how to do that. So that's number one. And then number two is we pull in our abs purposefully to appear more thin, right? We suck in those abs. And then number three is a response to stress. So many of us, if you ask yourself right now, like, are your molars touching each other, or is your jaw like down and relaxed? If your teeth are touching each other, you're probably clenching your jaw a little bit, and that's very normal, typical. A lot of us carry stress. We clench our teeth together. It's a response to stress. And if you do it long enough, you just start doing it all the time because your muscles have memory and they just kind of forget how to relax if you are always tightening those muscles. We also carry a lot of tension and stress in our neck and shoulders, like up like this. And so if you do like little shoulder rolls and you feel that tension just releasing and that kind of feel-good euphoria that you get when you get like a neck massage, that means you're carrying a lot of muscle tension in your shoulders and neck. And that's typically, again, a response mechanism to stress. You tense up. And then if you're tense all the time, those muscles forget how to relax. And so then, going to a massage occasionally and doing some stretches will help those muscles remember how to relax. But we do the same thing in our abdomen. We pull in our abs as a response to stress. And if you've been doing this, you know, your whole life, you don't even realize that you're doing it. And so if I ask you right now, like, what are your abs doing? Are they relaxed, or are they pulled in and they're tight and contracted? Most people, when I ask them this question, they say they're pulled in tight and contracted. Occasionally someone will say, oh, they're relaxed. But a lot of times people don't even notice that their abs are tightened because they're just always tight. And so that's their state of normalcy. And so they don't actually realize that their abs are contracted. And so why is this important? Well, for a couple of reasons. I mean, as far as it applies to hiatal hernia. Good, Nadia. Yeah, being mindful. It's all about me and being mindful, and it's about practicing. It's really a practice. But as far as relaxing the abs goes, applied to hiatal hernia, when we suck in our abdomen, when we pull our abs in, that puts upward force on our stomach. And so if you're a lifetime ab puller inner, that has been putting a lot of force on the organs of the abdominal cavity and pushing that stomach up and crowding it, like I was talking about yesterday, up into the diaphragm where it finds its new home and it creates new attachments, okay? And then, you know, those attachments can be, you know, we can pull that stomach back down. It just takes a little bit of work. And so the other reason it's important to understand, you know, relaxing the abs and overcoming this whole practice of pulling in the abs all the time is because when we're in a state of tension, you know how you always hear it's important to figure out a way to manage your stress. Well, why is that? Well, if we're always in a state of tension, that means our muscles are contracted, that means our breaths are shallow. And both of those things are exacerbators to hiatal hernia, shallow breaths and tight muscles. Again, because when we pull in our abs, that pushes the stomach up. And when we breathe shallowly, then that diaphragm isn't going through the full range of motion. That diaphragm's not going all the way down and all the way up. It's just kind of doing this, shallow breathing. Okay, and then the diaphragm becomes weak. If a muscle doesn't go through a full range of motion and it stretches and contracts and does all the things it's supposed to do to be healthy, then it becomes weak, especially if if a lot of demand is placed on it. So, you know, the diaphragm never gets a chance to take a break. It has to breathe, you know, as long as you're alive, it's got to work. So, anyway, getting back to stress. So, I'm going to talk more about this in another video, but just summarizing, when we think about the nervous system, your nervous system can either go into a state of fight or flight, or it can go into a state of all is well, okay? So fight or flight, you know, obviously in an emergency, it's going to go into a state of fight or flight, but it also goes into a state of fight or flight if if you're scared, if you're worried, if you're obsessive, if you're annoyed, if you're irritated. So, you know, anytime we experience any of these negative emotions, we go into somewhat of a state of fight or flight, you know, on a continuum. But if we're always in a state of fight or flight, whether it's always being irritated or always being worried or always being obsessive, then our nervous system is really being taxed. And so what we want to do is get into the state of, you know, of all is well. So there's your fight or flight and there's all is well. And the interesting thing is as long as we're in that fight or flight state, then the body it's in the life-saving mode. You know what I mean? So it's diverting all its auxiliary power to, you know, your respiratory system and your cardiovascular system, you know, life-saving systems. Forget about digestion, you know. And then when we go into the all is well, you know, that's what we call rest and digest, where we're taking those long, slow breaths, where we're not worried, where we're calm, where our muscles are relaxed. That's when the body digests, heals, and repairs. So if you're never giving your body a chance to do that, you can see why it's so easy to get sicker and sicker and sicker, more and more chronic and degenerative disease as we get older and we feel worse. Okay, and so to move into that state of heal and repair, rest and digest, we really need to figure out a way to manage our stress. And so what I teach is, you know, how to reverse your hiatal hernia with very relaxing breath work, meditative work, some exercises. And we're going to do, at the end of this session, I'm just going to lead a really short little tutorial to help you open up and relax your abdomen. Okay, so Deb asks, is there a link for the belt? Well, yeah, Deb, I'll look that up on Amazon and put a link below. I think it's called the Massage Buddy. I think it's called the Massage Buddy. And I'm pretty sure it was $50 on Amazon. But yeah, I don't see any other questions here, so I think I'm going to go ahead. And lead a short tutorial on how to really connect with your abs and engage that relaxation process. So there's two exercises that I teach. One is called Eye of the Storm, and if you come into kind of a reclining position and relax your belly, you don't have to come into this position. You can lie down on your back, you can sit up straight. Every little bit of advice and education that I give is going to apply different to everybody. So what might work for one person may make another person feel worse. So keep that in mind. But I feel that if you come into a reclining position, it really helps you to really connect with the abs and relax the abs. And then you just find your belly button and you make a circle. Now remember, my phone reverses everything. So this is my left side. And it's really important to understand that, because you want to come down the left because your stomach is on the left, and you always want to be pressing down. So you just do a circular motion like this, and all this does is begin to help you connect with your abdominal muscles and relax them. And so then you want to breathe into your belly. And so if you imagine, really connect with your abdomen now, and imagine it pressing your hand out as you breathe in, and then relax, and never pulling your abs at any time. So breathe in, and if you arch your back a little bit, that will help press that belly. And so imagine that belly like a balloon. When you breathe in, it comes out. And I know for some people this is really, really hard. But this exercise, if you practice it, it will help to begin to relax, help you begin to be really mindful of the tension you carry in your abs. It will help you to begin to be mindful throughout the day of when you're doing it, when you're pulling in those abs. I have been working on this for 6 months, guys, and I still... Paul says, Eye of the Storm is great. I did it for 20 minutes in the morning and felt my move. Yeah, I just felt it just now. I felt my stomach moving. You know, it's going to stimulate intestinal movement as well. So you're going to feel bubbles and stuff. But what he's talking about is if you feel kind of a bubble and a movement here in this area, and then kind of a relief kind of wash over you, a sensation of relief from that maybe mild nausea that you experience, mild indigestion that you always carry with you. Maybe you're burping and that kind of goes away after doing this for 20 minutes. That's what he's talking about. So just a couple more things about this. Someone commented yesterday in my video, she's had, children, she's had tummy tuck. If you've had multiple pregnancies or even one pregnancy, if you've had a tummy tuck, if you've had any type of exploratory surgery, if you've had a hysterectomy, if you've had any type of surgery where they've come in and cut through the muscle, it doesn't matter if it's laparoscopic or not, what happens then as a result of that when your muscles get injured, when they get cut and torn and injured? And it could be a surgery, it could be maybe you had an injury, maybe you were, high impact sports, maybe you, a lot of things can cause the musculature to have scar tissue, right? So anytime we have an injury, what happens? It heals, it repairs, and then there's scar tissue there, right? And that scar tissue is strong, right? That's the whole point. Hi, Monica. And so if we have, let's say, pregnancy, the abdominal muscles stretch out like this, and then when they heal, there's some scar tissue there. You go in for a tummy tuck, they cut around in there and repair everything, it heals, there's some scar tissue there. And so if you go to take a deep breath and expand your belly and you're just like, I cannot do that. You watch somebody's belly like expand like that and you're like, how do you do that? That's how I felt in the beginning. Paul says a Korean acupuncturist told me that rubbing the belly like that is great for relaxation, releasing trapped gas, and intestinal motility. Cool. Hi, Teresa. So anyway, there's a lot of reasons that we can have adhesions in both the musculature of the abs, and then yesterday we talked about adhesions in the peritoneum. So anytime you have, any type of injury, and injuries can be a result of, trauma. They can be a result of, your digestive tract gets injured from a lifetime of eating, bad junky food. Have you ever heard of inflammatory bowel disease? There's a whole category, there's inflammatory bowel disease and all these different gastric conditions that we can get. You're putting food into that system from the minute you're born to the day you die. So you've got to make that connection that the food that you're eating is causing those gastric conditions, inflammation, constipation, bloating. So the very first thing you do, if you suspect that maybe your diet needs some improvement, that's the very first thing you need to address when it comes to any gastric condition, including hiatal hernia and GERD. You've got to get your diet straightened out first. And I'll be talking more about that here in these lives over the course of the next month. I'm going to be talking about the diet that I'm on and how much I enjoy it and how it's not hard and how I look forward to eating now more than I ever used to. I really, really enjoy my diet. I never calorie restrict. I never portion control. I absolutely love my diet and I have never felt better. So I like to promote that a lot. Monica says, yes, diet is key for gut health. Yes, green smoothies rule. Thanks, Paul. This morning I'm actually drinking, you guys are going to laugh. Sometimes I don't know if you ever, you guys like to go on YouTube, but I used to follow, I don't even think she's on there anymore, Mommy Tang. She's a Korean, she's a really amazing cook, but she does mukbangs, which is where she cooks and then she eats the food, or like she talks, sometimes she goes on for an hour or longer, so they're long. But she turned me on to this, taking leftover rice from the meal the night before, putting in a high-powered blender with a little bit of water and nuts, and then if you want to sweeten it with fruit, that's fine, but I love it just with rice and water and nuts. It sounds crazy, but when she first was talking about this, I was like, everything I've ever tried of hers is amazing. So I was like, well, I'm going to try it. And so I had some leftover rice one day, and I tried it, and I absolutely love it. You have to be careful, though, like the starch from that rice, when you put it in your blender, you really do need a high-powered blender, and it just really taxes the motor. So you want to make sure there's, plenty of water in there, and you watch it, and if it gets, starts to, you put more water in there. But this is actually leftover quinoa from last night in the blender with a mango and some water, and I actually put, I don't know, maybe a quarter cup of raisins in there. It's really, really good. And this was full to the top, and I probably still have about this much left in the blender. So I'm going to be drinking this probably till 9:30, 10 o'clock today. But anyway, yeah, diet is key. Getting your diet straightened out so that you can get rid of that inflammation. That is key for your total health, but it's going to be key for reversing your hiatal hernia. And then discovering how to relax the abs. Through a daily breathing practice and massage. And really connecting with breaking up those adhesions. So, if you've had C-sections, pregnancies, even coming in like this and scratching. And I know this is going to be different for everybody depending on how much abdominal fat you have over your abs. But you can still do it. That massage still counts even through the fat. And it's just helping, one, relax those abs, two, start to soften up. And it takes time, soften up those adhesions. And when it comes to muscular adhesions, sometimes you have to get in. So if you find a spot, let's say you come over here and you really feel, yeah, that feels good. I feel that release of tension. You probably have some type of an adhesion in that spot. Maybe the peritoneum, maybe the muscle. If that feels good, then work on that spot a little bit. And then, don't get in and really massage it, because then it's going to hurt. And then you're going to say, yeah, that Pam Fox is crazy. She hurt me. And I'm never going to do that again. You really got to be gentle with this stuff so that you can come back to it, so that you'll come back to it, right? I mean, how many times have you said, I'm going to get in shape, and you join the gym and you go to the club and you get on the treadmill and you about kill yourself, and the next day you can't get out of bed, you're so sore. And then you don't go back to the gym for 10 years. So Paula Rose says, I would love to flatten my tummy. We'll definitely be trying this. Well, the best way to flatten your tummy, Paula Rose, is to go on a plant-based diet and eat plenty of food. Eat plenty of whole plant foods. In doing this, there's lower, the calorie content in whole plant foods is so much lower than your typical standard American diet. So your body is just going to begin to lean out. You don't have to calorie restrict. You don't have to portion control. Never skip meals. Your digestive system will begin to heal if it's inflamed. And as a result of that, as a result of cleaning up that digestive tract and getting that nice and healthy, other conditions are going to begin to improve and maybe even go away. This has been my experience on a plant-based diet. Hi, Jody. Here from sunny Devon. As you can see, it's not so sunny here today in Washington. I'm talking about a plant-based diet. Surprise, surprised. So yeah, I'm very passionate about plant-based nutrition because it saved my life, it transformed my life, and it's done so in thousands and thousands of other people. Start looking at their testimonies, start listening to those stories, and that is really going to inspire you to want to try this diet. And that's the only way you'll know if it'll work for you, is to try it. Try it for 30 days and see what it can do for you. You lost 3 stone, but your tummy still looks swollen. Yeah, it takes time. It takes time. All right, so I'm going to be taking off. I may or may not be here tomorrow. I'm going to try to be here tomorrow. I have a mastermind on Wednesday morning, so if I can get out of that on time, I will come directly over here and I'll be back with you guys. So I hope you all have an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching. And remember to relax the belly. Relax the belly. Relax the belly.